In the previous lecture, we had covered the energetics of alpha particle. There we had seen the formula of kinetic energy of alpha particle and its relation with the Q value of the alpha decay. So now we are going to cover how the alpha particle is emitted from the nucleus. So what is the whole criteria or what is the whole theory behind alpha decay? So first of all, we are going to see what is the nuclear potential barrier which is experienced by alpha particle. So alpha particle, it is a charged particle. It has a charge of plus 2e, and the nucleus in which the alpha particle, from which the alpha particle is emitted, the nucleus in itself is also charged because it has protons in it. So the nucleus from which the alpha particle is emitted, that is also charged, and the alpha particle is also charged. Therefore there is a potential barrier which is experienced by the alpha particle when it is emitted. So we are going to find what is the potential barrier at the surface of the daughter nucleus which is experienced by the alpha particle. So here is the parent nucleus which we have drawn. So this is the parent nucleus. This is the parent nucleus which we have drawn, and there is alpha particle which is present inside this nucleus. So this is the alpha particle within the nucleus. So this alpha particle, it has not been decayed, it has not been emitted by the nucleus yet, but it will be emitted after some time. So this alpha particle, it is present inside the nucleus itself, and after some time this alpha particle, it will get emitted. So we are going to find what is the potential barrier at the surface of the nucleus. At the surface of this nucleus, what is the potential barrier? Because that potential barrier has to be surmounted by this alpha particle. For this alpha particle to get emitted by this nucleus, this alpha particle, it must escape the potential barrier. It must get transmit by the potential barrier, because there is some potential barrier at the surface of the nucleus, and we will find out the formula of the potential barrier in few minutes. So potential barrier, it is experienced by this alpha particle. So for this alpha particle to go out of this nucleus, it must encounter this potential barrier. So it must escape the potential barrier at the surface of the nucleus. Only then the alpha particle will get escaped. So first of all, we are going to find what is the potential barrier at the surface of the nucleus. So we are going to find the potential energy experienced by this alpha particle at the surface of the nucleus. So potential energy, it is given by the formula of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 divided by the distance between the two charged bodies which we are talking about. Here the charged bodies are, first is the alpha particle and the other one is the daughter nucleus. So alpha particle, it will get emitted, and the leftover nucleus, that will be just the daughter nucleus. So we are going to find the potential energy. We are going to see the potential energy which is experienced by this alpha particle due to the leftover charge, due to the remaining charge of the nucleus. So let's say the parent nucleus, it has atomic number equal to Z, and when the alpha particle, it will be, so alpha particle, it will have plus 2e charge. So from this Z number of protons, 2 protons have been clubbed with the alpha particle. So from these Z number of protons which are present in the parent nucleus, 2 protons have been clubbed with the 2 neutrons, and they make up the alpha particle. So the remaining charge on the nucleus will be equal to Z minus 2. So this will be the remaining charge on the nucleus, and we are going to find the potential energy which is experienced by this alpha particle due to the remaining charge which is present in the nucleus, and that is Z minus 2 into E. So the charge on the parent nucleus is equal to Z into E, and charge on the remaining protons which are present, that will be equal to Z minus 2 into E. So 2 protons they have been clubbed with the alpha particle. So 2 protons they club with 2 neutrons and they make up the alpha particle. So the remaining charge on the nucleus, it will be Z minus 2 into E. So the potential energy which is experienced by this alpha particle due to the remaining charge on the nucleus, it will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 into Q2. So first charge is Z minus 2 into E, and the other charge Q2, that is the charge on the alpha particle, which is plus 2E. So this is the charge on the alpha particle, divided by the distance between the two charged bodies. So first charged body is the alpha particle and another charged body is this Z minus 2 into E. So what will be the distance? Now we are going to find the potential barrier. This potential energy, it is found when the alpha particle is at the surface of this nucleus. So we are going to find the potential barrier at the surface. So this potential barrier, it must be encountered by the alpha particle at the surface. So this alpha particle, it has to escape this potential barrier which is at the surface. So we have to find the potential energy only at the surface of this nucleus. So when the alpha particle is at the surface of the nucleus, then the distance between the two charged bodies Q1 and Q2, let's say that is equal to small r. So the potential energy it is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 into Q2 divided by the distance between the two charged bodies. And since we are going to find the potential barrier at the surface, only at the surface, so this distance it will be when the alpha particle is present at the surface. So this distance it will be between the alpha particle when it is at the surface and the center of the nucleus. So that will give you the distance r between the two charged bodies, and this radius or this distance it is about 10 power minus 14 meters. So generally if we talk about any heavy nuclei, this distance it comes out to be about 10 power minus 14 meters. So this potential energy at the surface of the nucleus experienced by the alpha particle, this will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, then 2 into Z minus 2 into E square divided by R. So let's take an example of uranium-238. So uranium-238, there are 92 protons. So potential barrier at the surface of this uranium-238, it will be given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So keep in mind Z is the proton number of the parent nucleus. So in this article, we are considering Z as the proton number of the parent nucleus. So Z minus 2, it will be the proton number in the daughter nucleus. Z minus 2, it will be the proton number in the daughter nucleus. So potential barrier at the surface will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2 into Z minus 2. Now what is that? It is equal to 92. So 92 minus 2 will be equal to 90 into E square divided by distance. So distance it is about 10 power minus 14 meters. So when this whole expression is evaluated, it will come out in joules because it is the potential energy. So this is the potential energy and it will come out in joules when you will put all the values in terms of SI units. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, it is equal to, its value is equal to 9 into 10 power 9. Now E, it is the charge, it is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs, and when you will evaluate it, that value will come out to be in joules, and when you will convert it into electron volt, that will be equal to about 25.9 mega electron volt, or you can simply say it will be about 25 mega electron volt. So first of all, this term it will come out in joules, then you will convert it into electron volt. So you will get the potential barrier at the surface, it is about 25 mega electron volt for the case of heavy nuclei. So at the surface it is about 25 mega electron volt. So this diagram which is shown over here, this graph, it gives us the plot of potential energy which is given by U, the potential energy U of an alpha particle as a function of its distance from the daughter nucleus. So when the alpha particle it is emitted out of the nucleus, so then you will take the distance of the alpha particle from that of the daughter nucleus. So as the alpha particle it will go away from the daughter nucleus, the potential which is experienced by the alpha particle it will keep on decreasing, because as we know the Coulomb potential it is given by 1 divided by r. So it is inversely proportional to the distance between the two charged bodies. So when the alpha particle it will be emitted out of the nucleus, so you will get the daughter nucleus. So daughter nucleus it will remain and the alpha particle it will get released from the nucleus. So as the alpha particle will go away from the daughter nucleus, the distance between the two charged bodies it will increase, and hence the potential energy it will decrease when the distance is greater than the radius of the nucleus. So when the distance r, so this horizontal axis it represents the distance of the alpha particle from that of the daughter nucleus. So as the distance r it keeps on increasing from r0. Now r0 it is the radius of this nucleus. So as the distance of the alpha particle from that of daughter nucleus it increases greater than r0, the potential energy it goes 1 by r. So this relation, this graph which has been plotted, it is plotted according to inverse relation with the distance. So as the distance will increase, the potential energy it will keep on decreasing. The potential energy which is experienced by the alpha particle due to the daughter nucleus it will keep on decreasing, and inside the nucleus it is assumed that there is constant potential. So this potential it is constant potential which is experienced by the alpha particle inside the nucleus, and when the alpha particle it goes, it is at the surface. When the alpha particle is at the surface of the nucleus, when it has not been emitted, so when it is at the surface, then the potential we have just calculated that the potential in that case is about 25 mega electron volts. So this point it corresponds to about 25 mega electron volt. When the alpha particle it is within the nucleus, then the potential is negative, and when the alpha particle it comes at the surface, the potential energy it increases to 25 mega electron volt, and after that when alpha particle it goes out of the nucleus, that is the distance is greater than r0, then the potential it will go to 0 with the relation of 1 by r. The potential it will decrease by 1 by r relation. So when the alpha particle it goes out of the nucleus, the potential it will start decreasing from 25 mega electron volt, and it will keep on decreasing, and then it will approach to 0 at r is equal to infinity. So this graph it is a plot of the potential energy U of an alpha particle as a function of its distance from the daughter nucleus. The height of the potential barrier it is about 25 mega electron volt. This we have already seen for the case of uranium, and for any heavy nuclei the potential barrier it will come out to be approximately equal to this 25 mega electron volt. So the height of the potential barrier, so this is the potential barrier, height of this potential barrier it is about 25 mega electron volt. So for the alpha particle to get escape from this nucleus, so the nucleus it is till r0, the nucleus it has radius r0, so nucleus it is present only up to this distance r0, and for the alpha particle to escape this nucleus, that is for the alpha particle to go beyond this distance r0, it has to escape this potential barrier of 25 mega electron volt. Now we may regard an alpha particle in such a nucleus as being inside a box. So we can regard the alpha particle, when the alpha particle, it has not been escaped, it is still present inside the nucleus. So when the alpha particle is present in this region, that is the region less than R0, when the alpha particle it is present within this region, then we can regard the alpha particle as being inside a box whose walls require an energy of about 25 megaelectron volt to escape. So when the alpha particle it is present within this region, that is within the radius less than R0, we can regard this alpha particle as being inside a box whose walls they require an energy of about 25 megaelectron volt to escape. So for the alpha particle to escape this potential barrier, it must have energy of 25 megaelectron volt. So this much energy must be present within the alpha particle so that it can escape this potential barrier of 25 megaelectron volt and it can be emitted out of the nucleus. Now the main problem was that the alpha particle outside the nucleus, it has energy of about 4 megaelectron volt to 9 megaelectron volt. This we have already seen in previous lectures, that the alpha particle which is emitted by the nucleus, it has energy in the range of 4 megaelectron volt to 9 megaelectron volt. But just before we had told you that the alpha particle it must require an energy of minimum energy of 25 megaelectron volt to escape the nucleus. But alpha particle outside the nucleus, it is found that it has energy of about 4 to 9 megaelectron volt. So according to classical mechanics or according to classical physics, alpha particle won't be able to cross the barrier. So classical physics, it says that when the energy of the particle it is less than the energy of the potential barrier, then it is impossible for the particle to escape that particular region. So classical physics, it says that alpha particle won't be able to cross the barrier. So classical physics was not able to explain why the alpha particle is emitted from the nucleus. Because alpha particle, we know it is emitted from the nucleus, so it gets emitted and we detect alpha particles. It means it is possible for the alpha particle to get ejected out of a nucleus. But according to classical physics, the alpha particle it has energy of 4 to 9 megaelectron volt. This is experimentally proven that alpha particle has energy in this range. But according to classical physics, it is impossible for any particle to escape a potential barrier whose energy is greater than the energy of the particle itself. So if there is some potential barrier, let's say this is the potential barrier and this is the energy of the particle which is hitting this barrier. So let's say this potential barrier is U, and this particle which is hitting this potential barrier, it has energy which is less than U. So according to classical physics, it would be impossible for this particle to escape, or you can say it would be impossible for this particle to be present in this region. So it would be impossible for this particle to get transmitted from this potential barrier. So according to classical physics, alpha particle can never be emitted from the nucleus. But how the alpha particle it escapes? So the classical physics was unable to explain the theory of alpha decay. So how alpha particle it actually escapes? So this theory was given by quantum mechanics, and quantum mechanics it gives the theory of alpha decay. And this theory of alpha decay, it is very important topic. It was developed in 1928. So this theory it was given in 1928 by Gamow, and it is also called as Gamow theory of alpha decay. So in some books it is also termed as Gamow theory of alpha decay. So it was developed by Gamow and by Gurney and Condon in 1928. So this theory, it is generally also called as Gamow theory of alpha decay. Now we will see what are the notions, or we can say what are the assumptions of this theory of alpha decay, which was given by Gamow using the quantum mechanics. So the basic assumptions were that alpha particle, it exists as an entity. It exists as an entity within a heavy nucleus. So the first assumption is that alpha particle, it is already present inside the nucleus as an entity. Such a particle is in constant motion. The second assumption is that such a alpha particle, it is always in constant motion and is contained in the nucleus by the surrounding potential barrier. So this we have already seen, a potential barrier is experienced by the alpha particle. The second assumption is that this alpha particle, which exists as an entity in the nucleus, it is always in a constant motion. So let's say this is alpha particle which is already present inside the nucleus. So this is already present, it exists as an entity, as a particular identity inside the nucleus. And second assumption is that this alpha particle, it is in constant motion within the nucleus. So this alpha particle, it will be in constant motion. Let's say it has velocity v. So first of all, it will go in this direction, it will hit the potential barrier, and then again it will go back, and then again it will hit the potential barrier, and so on. It will keep on hitting the nucleus, the surface of the nucleus constantly. So it will be in a constant motion. So this is the second assumption. The third assumption is that there is a small but there is a definite possibility. So there is small possibility, but still it is definite, it is non-zero possibility that the particle may pass through the barrier each time a collision with it occurs. So the third assumption is that when the alpha particle, it hits the surface of the nucleus, or you can say if it hits the potential barrier which is present at the surface, then there is a small but there is a definite probability that the alpha particle, it will be ejected on the collision. So it will be ejected by the nucleus at the time of the collision. So there is a small but definite possibility that the particle may pass through the barrier. So there is a possibility that the alpha particle, it will cross the barrier when the collision with it occurs. So when the collision occurs with the potential barrier, there is a possibility that the alpha particle will escape the nucleus during that collision. So there is a possibility, although the possibility is very small, and we will find what is that probability of the alpha particle to get transmitted from this nucleus. So we will be finding the expression of the transmission probability, so in next lecture. So there is a small but definite possibility. So this is the third assumption. So now the decay probability per unit time, which is nothing but lambda, and it is also called as decay constant, as we had studied in the previous lectures. So lambda, it is the decay constant, and we can also call it as decay probability per unit time. So what is the probability that the alpha particle will decay, the alpha particle, it will be emitted per unit time? So that is given by lambda. So lambda, it can be expressed as nu into capital T. Now what is nu? Nu, it is the collision frequency. As we have said, the alpha particle, it is in continuous motion and it will continuously collide with the Coulomb barrier or the potential barrier which is at the surface. So nu, it is the collision frequency. It is the number of times per second an alpha particle within the nucleus, it strikes the potential barrier. So it is the number of times per second. So in 1 second, how many number of times the alpha particle, it hits the potential barrier at the surface. So that is given by nu into transmission probability. So this is the probability of the alpha particle to escape the nucleus. So nu, it is the collision frequency, and capital T is the transmission probability. So more the transmission probability, more will be the decay probability. So therefore lambda is proportional to capital T as well as lambda is proportional to nu. So if the collision frequency is large, so if more is the collision frequency, more will be the probability for the alpha particle to escape the nucleus. So lambda, it is equal to nu into capital T. Now collision frequency nu. So what is frequency? It is equal to velocity over distance traveled. Now time period. What is time? Time is equal to distance over velocity, and time is equal to inverse of frequency, or you can say frequency is inverse of time. So frequency will be equal to velocity over distance. Now let's say v is the velocity of the alpha particle inside the nucleus, divide by the distance which is traveled by the alpha particle. So v is the velocity and the distance which is traveled by the alpha particle in one collision, that is in two successive collisions. So let's say the alpha particle, it starts from this point and then it hits this point. So between two successive collision, what is the distance? It is on an average, it is about equal to diameter. So on an average it will be equal to diameter, which is nothing but 2 into radius. So twice of radius. Now r0, it is the nuclear radius. So velocity over the diameter, nuclear diameter, that will give us the collision frequency. Now velocity of the alpha particle, it has been seen experimentally that on an average it is about 2 into 10 power 7 meter per second, and r0 on an average it is about 10 power minus 14 meters. So nuclear radius on an average it is about 10 power minus 14 meter in case of heavy nuclei. So when you will put these values, you will get the collision frequency. It will be of the order of 10 power 21 second inverse. So what is this value? Tells us that alpha particle, it collides for about 10 power 21 times in 1 second. So collision frequency, it is nothing but the number of times the alpha particle, it collides with the surface potential barrier. So that comes out to be equal to 10 power 21 second inverse, which means the alpha particle, it collides for about 10 power 21 times inside the nucleus in 1 second. In 1 second there are 10 power 21 collisions of the alpha particle with the surface barrier. So that is the collision frequency. So now we are going to see the Gamow theory of alpha decay. So we will be finding the expression of the transmission probability. So transmission probability, it is the probability for the alpha particle to escape the Coulomb barrier, to escape the potential barrier which is at the surface. So transmission probability, it gives us the probability for the alpha particle to escape from the nucleus. So we will be finding using quantum mechanics the expression of the transmission probability. So first of all, we are considering a very simple case that you have done in the second year. So you have done already in quantum mechanics in second year. So you take a rectangular potential barrier. So let's say the barrier height is equal to u. So u is the barrier height, and let's say a particle is hitting this potential barrier with this E amount of energy. So a particle which is hitting this barrier, it has energy equal to E. So E is the energy of the particle, U is the barrier height, and let's say L is the width of barrier. So L, it is the distance, or you can say it is the width of the barrier. Now in this particular case, the potential barrier height, it is greater than the energy of the particle. So the alpha decay, in alpha decay also we have seen that the energy of the alpha particle, it is less as compared to the barrier height. So here we are also considering the same case. The barrier height, it is greater than the energy of the particle which is hitting the barrier. So in quantum mechanics, you have already seen that transmission probability of this particular case which we had drawn. So you can go through the article in quantum mechanics where you have rectangular potential barrier whose height is greater than the energy of the particle. In that case, the transmission probability, that is this probability for this particle to escape or to get transmitted through this barrier, the transmission probability, it is equal to e power minus 2k2 into L. So transmission probability formula that you have derived in quantum mechanics for this rectangular potential barrier, it is equal to e power minus 2k2 into L, where L it is the width of the barrier and k2 it is equal to under root of 2m u minus e divided by h cut. So u it is the barrier height, E is the energy of the particle. So K2 is equal to root of 2m. Now m it is the mass of this particle which is hitting the potential barrier. So in our case it will be the mass of the alpha particle which we are going to see. So transmission probability it is equal to e power minus 2k2 into L, and k2 is equal to root of 2m u minus e by h cut, where h cut is equal to h by 2 pi. So now we will take the natural logarithm on both sides of this equation. So you will take natural logarithm. So left hand side will be equal to natural log of capital T. So this will be equal to minus 2k2 into L. So this is the case for a rectangular potential barrier. So this equation which we have written, this equation, it is for rectangular potential barrier, but the alpha particle, we are going to see the alpha decay, and the alpha particle, it faces a potential barrier of a varying height. Here the case that we have seen, here the height of the potential barrier, it is constant up to a certain distance. So it is constant, but the alpha particle, it is faced by a potential barrier of varying height. So what is the potential barrier in the case of alpha particle? So this diagram we have already drawn in the starting. So E, it is the energy of the alpha particle, and this was the potential energy which was experienced by the alpha particle. So now we are just going to draw the potential barrier in this case. So potential barrier will be just this pattern. So this will be the potential barrier. In this case, the potential barrier, it had a constant height up to a certain distance, but here we can see the potential barrier, it does not have a constant height, but its height decreases as the distance of the alpha particle from the daughter nucleus increases. So as the distance of the alpha particle from the nucleus, it increases, the potential barrier experienced by the alpha particle, it decreases. So we have to take into account this decreasing height. So we have to take into account this decreasing height of the potential barrier. So K2, it will vary with the distance. Here the K2 was constant. In this previous case, K2 was constant because 2 is constant, M is constant, U is constant. Because U, it is constant up to a certain distance, U will be constant, energy of the particle is constant, and H cut is constant. So in this case which we have just done, in this K2 is constant, but in our case, in this case of alpha particle, so the potential is given by, which we have already seen, potential is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z into 2 into Z into E square divided by R. Now this Z, it is the charge on the daughter nucleus. So in the previous page, we have written the potential energy as 2 into Z minus 2. So in that case we have written 2 into Z minus 2. So Z in that case was the proton number in the parent nuclei. So Z minus 2, it will just give us the proton number in the daughter nucleus. So I have just replaced Z minus 2 with Z. So now Z will be the proton number in the daughter nuclei. So in that equation you have to write Z is in the previous equation which we have written of potential energy, where we have used Z minus 2. So there you have to write Z is the proton number of the parent nuclei, and here we have simply replaced Z Z minus 2 with Z. So Z will be the proton number of the daughter nuclei. So the formula is the same, just we have changed the variable. There Z was the proton number in the parent nuclei, here Z is the proton number in the daughter nuclei. So formula it will remain the same. So K2 it will vary with distance for the case of alpha particle, because here we have potential energy. In the formula of K2 we have potential energy, and we know potential energy it is dependent upon distance. So this is the Coulomb potential energy, and Coulomb potential energy it goes inversely with the distance. So K2 in this case of alpha particle it will vary with distance, because U is a function of distance. So K2 will be dependent upon distance, and it will be given by under root of 2m into U minus E. Now U in this case it will be a function of distance divided by h cut. So U will be, in this case potential energy will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z into E into 2 into E. So this is the charge on the daughter nuclei. As I have said, Z is the proton number in the daughter nuclei. So Z into E it will be charge on the daughter nucleus into 2e, which is the charge on the alpha particle, divided by distance between both the charges. So U it will be a function of distance. As the distance will increase, the potential energy is decreasing. So U is a function of R, hence K2 will be function of R. So keep in mind Z into E it is the charge on the nucleus of daughter nuclei. So here what is the difference? Here the height of the potential barrier it is decreasing, it is not constant. Like in this case the height was constant, but over here height of the barrier it is decreasing, and we have to take into account this decreasing height of the potential barrier. So here K2 will be function of R. So what will be K2? K2 will be equal to, so in more general way, K2 will be equal to root of 2m, and what is U of R? U of R is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2ze square divided by R minus E, divide by h cut. So we have just put the expression of U of R in this expression of K2. So that will give us K2. So K2 will be dependent upon small r.